Hi everybody. This video is meant to discuss the Literary Analysis Unit 2. So I want to go over this real quick. You'll have some reading assignments here. If you click here, all about the literary analysis, there's a couple links I need you to read through here, making sure that you definitely study this literary terms list because you will have a quiz on this in Moodle. And then for your helpful resources, you've got this one. It says Literary Analysis Essay Writing Resources. This gives you a video about how to access the databases that you'll need to look for articles. And then I've got the essay instructions here, as well as some brainstorming and outlining guides here to help you along the way. And then in this one, I have a sample short story, The Lottery, that you guys will read. If you click this link right here on the short story title, it'll take you to the short story. And then there's actually two little videos here. They're very old, ancient videos, but they are videos that show the movie of The Lottery. So you can watch those two. I think they're like 10 minutes each, somewhere around that. And then this is the sample literary analysis essay written about the lottery. Students are not writing about the lottery as their literary analysis essay. This is just used for sample purposes. It gives you an example of how to study a short story, but also how to write an analysis about it. So be sure to view that. And then you'll have your assignments, which will be a discussion board, your essay, and then there will be a literary terms quiz added here as well. Okay? But I wanted to go ahead and go over actually the instructions for the essay so I can clear up any confusion hopefully before you start. Now this will come up for you guys automatically. It doesn't for me. I almost got it. Okay. Here we go. What you have, you've got 4 short stories at the very top of this page to choose from. What you're going to do is you're reading one of these stories. You're choosing one. And you're going to decide whether you want to write your analysis about that story and what you want to discuss. So I've got 4 listed here. I've got Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. I've got the link here. Now this particular link takes you to a list of other stories too, but you can't choose from those other stories. You can only choose in this link from this story right here, Story of an Hour. And then you have 3 other stories, The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, and then A Rose for Emily by William Faulkner. And I've got the links here. You may have to copy and paste them to your browser. But I'd like for you to, if you haven't read any of these before, which some of you probably have, if you haven't read them before, go online, look for summaries, look and see what you can find to see if it's something you'd be interested in, okay? But you have to choose one of the 4 listed here, okay? All right. The guide, the outline guide that I have provided in a folder in this unit, it gives you some tips on what to do once you have decided on the short story you want to write about. You definitely need to research the author, figure out what this author was all about, if anything going on in their time period provoked them to write this story. It could be their own life experiences that provoked or motivated them to write this story. So some of those can come in handy when trying to understand the author and understand the short story and the purpose of it. So this is a 2 full-page essay. If it goes over 2 pages, that's fine. The last page or the 3rd page will be your works cited page. You'll have 2 sources. You'll cite your short story, whichever one you choose, and then you're going to choose one article, preferably coming from the JSTOR Literary Resource Center database in the Davidson-Davie Community College library page and their online resources. I have provided a video in this unit that shows how to access that. So you guys can pull that up and watch that. It's very easy. But you don't want to find internet sources. because they're not really considered valid. Most of them are study guide sources or e-notes or Spark Notes, and they don't really provide any type of literary criticism about the article, and that's what, or about the story, which is what your article should do. So you'll have two sources, short story and then one article that you find of your choice that discusses your short story directly, and one or more of the literary devices that you choose to discuss. All right, I've got here again, just to repeat, see the video provided in Moodle about accessing the databases. You have to cite two sources. Those two sources have to be cited on the works cited page and also within your essay. So you have to use quotes and paraphrased information from both the short story and the article you choose, and you have to cite that within your essay as well. The sources you have listed on the works cited page have to match up to what you have cited within your essay. Organization. You should choose 3 literary devices. Now, I provided a literary terms list that you guys are going to be quizzed on in this section. You can certainly pull from that list. Some of the most common used literary devices whenever somebody is trying to analyze a story, some of the most commonly discussed are like irony, symbols, theme, could be conflict, characterization, author motivation, historical context and how it impacts the story. Could be imagery, simile, metaphor. I mean, there's tons out there. You only need to choose 3. So, for example, for the lottery, if I was writing about the lottery, which again, students cannot write about the lottery because it was a sample, I may choose theme, symbolism, and imagery, and that I'm going to discuss and analyze that story based on those 3 things, and I'm going to provide specific examples of those that are used in the story, and I'm going to see if I can find an article that helps support my analysis of the short story. Okay, let's see. You're wanting to explain how these literary devices impact the story. So you give examples of them and, put in there why you think they impact the story or why you think the author used them. Here is an example of MLA format that you should use throughout. And again, I have provided a link in Moodle that shows pretty much any resource you might need to help with MLA formatting and documentation. For example, when citing like the story of an hour or story of an hour, if you choose to write that one, your information's already right here and you can just copy and paste this. Just take the yellow highlighting out. But like if you're writing about this short story, this will be your works cited citation. All you have to do is copy and paste it. And if you look, all it is the author's last name, comma, first name, period, the title, capitalized, of the short story in quotation marks, and then you have the URL. All the URLs are provided here. Okay, so no matter if you're writing about the yellow wallpaper or the Telltale Heart or Rose for Emily, this format will still be the same. You'll just replace it with the correct author, title, and then URL. But just please take note of punctuation, of formatting. You see how it's got hanging indentation here where that second line is indented and the first line is left aligned. It's very important that it's formatted correctly. And so when this source is cited within the essay, like if you use a specific quote from this story to show an example of symbolism, then at the very end of that quote, you'll put Chopin in parentheses with the period at the end. You'll do this with the same formatting with the other authors as well. So this will give you a good example. Literary conventions, making sure that you're writing in present tense. If you write in past tense, that's fine. Just make sure you stick to one or the other. Don't mix the two. No first person wording. No second person wording. First person is I, me, my, us, we, our. Those are not allowed in academic writing most of the time, and it won't be allowed in this class. So be sure to keep first person out, and do not address your reader using second person by saying you did this, you need to do that, yourself, you are, your. you want to make sure you avoid using first person and second person. Short story titles and article titles are always put in quotation marks. Please make sure you see that. You don't want points deducted for that. Avoid summarizing the whole entire story, basically in the whole paper. The only part where you should summarize the story may be to give a brief summary in the introduction. If you see the outline that I provided, it'll kind of give you a guide of what should go in each paragraph. Use literary terms to discuss your points. And again, I've given a lot of little examples here. You can definitely look from the list and use something else if you want to. Here's an example of a thesis statement. And then be sure that you support your points. If you're telling me that Edgar Allan Poe used symbolism all throughout his story, give me as many examples as you can find in there. Explain what they mean and why they're important to the story. No contractions. This is like don't, won't, can't, wouldn't, shouldn't. Just write them out. Do not, would not, could not, should not. I know it sounds strange as we're actually typing it out, but that's considered informal writing, and we want to make sure we stick with formal writing. And then again, use the DDCC databases to find your second source. See the video that I provided. That will be most helpful to you. If you have any questions concerning the literary analysis, please feel free to contact me. If you need extra assistance or you're reading this and you're going, oh boy, I'm going to need some help with this, please contact the Davidson-Davie Community College Learning Commons. They will be glad to help you online or face-to-face. So just be sure to get in contact with them ahead of time so you give them time to help you. Again, I'm here for you. Let me know if you need anything. Thank you.